In this video, I'll explain how to make M2 a lot more efficient by adopting some very simple 3 cycles, commutators to be precise. A commutator is defined as a sequence of moves in the form of A, B, A prime, B prime. But don't be scared off by that, because you don't need to understand them. In fact, you already use the occasional commutator without even realizing it. Whenever UB is a target and the previous or preceding target is outside the M slice, you actually solve those two pieces with a commutator. I'll now show you a case where UB is a target and the previous target is outside the M slice. Here the cycle is DF to FL to UB. So this would be solved by first shooting to FL, then of course shooting to UB with M2. If we take a look at the moves that were just applied, you will see that that was actually a commutator. The U''L''U was the A, the M2 was B, the undoing of the setup move, the U''L''U, was A prime, and the final M2 was B prime. Even though you may not understand commutators, anyone who knows M2 would have used that commutator. So the point of me showing you that was just to emphasize the fact that you don't need to understand commutators to understand this tutorial. Okay, now it's time to learn something useful. The beautiful thing about commutators is they can be conjugated. What this means is I can apply a setup to manipulate the targets so that I have UB as one target and the previous or preceding target outside the M slice. So essentially, we can do a setup, then solve two pieces with these really easy commutators, then undo the setup. Here is the cycle DF to LD to UR. So we want to find a setup that will transform this cycle so that we have UB as a target and the other target is outside the M slice. I recommend that you start off by only looking for one move setups, otherwise you might be stuck thinking for too long and you might actually be better off using ordinary M2. But for this case, the setup's actually pretty easy. All you have to do is U prime. Now what that did is it put UR to UB. Now the cycle is DF to LD to UB. So we can execute that just as ordinary M2. Shoot to LD, now shoot to UB, and undo the setup. There's nothing more I can really explain without going into commutator theory, so for the rest of this video I'll just be showing examples. This cycle is DF to RF to DB, and I will say again that we're looking for a one move setup that will bring one of the targets to UB and leave the other target outside of the M slice. So this can be achieved by doing B2. That just brought DB to UB. Now the cycle is DF to RF to UB. So let's do that. Then undo the B2. There were cancellations in that, but just for simplicity I'm not going to use them. Here is the cycle DF to UF to DR. UF can be set up to UB in one move just by doing U2. Now the cycle is DF to UB to DR, which can be solved like this. And undo the U2 made at the start. And you can cancel out U moves in that. Here we have the cycle DF to FL to LB. LB can be set up to UB by just doing B. Now the cycle is DF to FL to UB, which can be solved by doing this. And undo the setup. This cycle is DF to UL to FR. UL is one move away from being at UB, so the setup is U. Now the cycle is DF to UB to FR, which can be solved by doing this. And undo the setup. Last example, the cycle is DF to RF to LB. LB can be set up to UB by applying the setup B prime. Now the cycle is DF to RF to UB, which can be solved by doing this. And undo the setup. And again, cancellations could have been used in that. I'm going to end there because, as I said earlier, I don't think there's much else I can explain without going deeply into commutators. So I hope this helped. If you have any serious questions, just ask.